What's up, guys? This is Taylor Whitten, the lighting director here at the Life Church in Memphis, and I'm very excited to get these tutorial videos started for you guys on operating, programming, and doing some troubleshooting techniques on the GrandMA 2 lighting console. The GrandMA 2 is what we use across all of our campuses, and most likely we're going to be using it going forward with our new campuses in the future. So very excited about that. Before we dive into those topics, I really wanted to use this first video to explain the why behind the lighting at the Life Church and what the importance is. Lighting plays a huge role in the production at the Life Church, and it really has from the beginning. The moment I stepped foot into my very first service, I noticed the mood in the room right away. It was colorful, it was ambient, and it was just very welcoming. The lighting has always been on point, from the house lighting and to the stage lighting. And now keep in mind that I've always had a passion for lighting going back to my days as a kid. It really came out of me when I was in my youth group. And loving the church so much, I actually bought a small lighting rig with my high school graduation money, and it came in around $1,000. It wasn't much, but it definitely worked for the youth group back then. And ever since then, I have continued to grow my gift in lighting in God's house, and it's been a lot of fun. And saying all this leads me to the importance of how lighting can affect and impact a church service. And there are so many different ways with lighting to present a church auditorium to our congregation. So talking about setting the room and answering some questions there. So the moment you step into the auditorium at the Life Church for a service, you'll immediately feel the ambience or mood in the room from the lighting and visuals. From the pre-service to worship to the message, the lighting settings will drastically change from moment to moment. And you may ask, why is it so dark? You'll probably feel the lights do come down quite a bit for the worship part of the service. And this isn't so that we want to see the band and vocals as stars of the show, but that we want the congregation to feel that the spotlight isn't on them. This allows for the audience to really engage in the presence of God. And let's be honest, it just doesn't feel right if the house lights are up at 80 to 100% during a service and you as a worshiper are exposed to everyone around you. We set that tone so that you can be free in God's presence, and almost like you're in your own space and not worrying about the people around you. And I'm not saying that we aren't bringing attention to the stage, because at the end of the day we are. People need to see the worship leaders on stage so that they can do their jobs by leading the congregation into worship. And again, this isn't to make them the stars of the service. People can easily compare a worship service to a concert these days because there is so much detail in the production of church. But from stage, our worship leaders do a phenomenal job of taking the attention off them and the stage and putting it on Jesus, putting the focus on Jesus. So another question is, why do we use moving lights and effects? And this is an important question, and I think this is where people might consider a service more of a concert than a time of worship. And I love talking about this part because this is where my passion shows the most, I think. And I am a guitar player, and I have been for years now. And in worship, I respect each part of the song. And what I mean by that is I know when to play softly, when to drive it with big chords, and most importantly, when not to play at all during a song. And I've carried over these crucial principles into the lighting world, and I treat our stage effects lights, such as our moving lights, our LEDs, as another band member, basically. And so for a fast up-tempo song, I try to be very detailed in each part of the song. When the band is coming in big with the intro, I'm going to come in big with lighting, and not only big lighting, but on the same beat and tempo as the band. And when the band is bringing it down and entering into the slower half of worship, I'm making it more ambient on stage and using colors that aren't so vibrant. So moving lights can be a distraction if used in the wrong way, but they can provide a big impact when used correctly and going with the dynamics of the song. And I've been on staff now as LD at the Life Church since August of 2016. I've grown tremendously over the years. When I first began this journey, I wanted every light to be on at all times. Maybe not flashing on and maybe not moving on at all times, but after being influenced by so many other church LDs, I've come to realize that it's not all about the bigness and brightness of lights during worship. It's all about dynamics, and you'll hear me use that word a lot. And definitely not blinding or distracting people and overloading them with flashing lights. So to wrap this part up, it's mainly about being simple. Simplicity is huge when it comes to lighting. You don't have to give it all away right out of the gate. And when that happens, then people are right when they think it's a concert. But when you use lights as another tool for the worship team, then everything falls into place very nicely and in an orderly way. So one of the last questions is, why do we use haze during our service? I think haze does play a vital part in our services, and not only does it bring out the beams in the lights, it enhances the background of the stage, and where there's black space, our lights tend to fill that in with color, and it's only possible with haze, and we don't want to have billowing clouds of smoke that makes people think our building is on fire. We, with advanced hazers that we have these days, the output on the hazers provide a nice and subtle output. So that pretty much wraps up this first video. At the end of the day, we definitely want to set a great atmosphere for people to come in and to experience the presence of God. I mean, that's one of our number one values here at the Life Church, is the presence of God. And if we're going to be distracting, that can definitely take people's focus and attention off of worship. So we want to do our very best, again, to use dynamics, to go with the tempo, to go with the beat, to bring lights in when they need to come in, to bring them down when they need to come down, and just be orderly, and to just provide a big impact. So that's basically it for this first video. If you have any questions, and if you maybe have something else that you'd like to share, I'd love to hear it, and I'd love to keep these kinds of videos going that really explain lighting production in the church world. So this is just a start, and we're going to dive in soon to programming and to operating. So stick around, and I hope you guys enjoy this, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.